Okay then. So I'm trying to catch up with stuff. So much stuff. But yes, finally got around to take a look at Offworlder issue 1. And yeah, I'm glad I backed this thing cuz I do have a certain kinds of fondness for, the kind of like it's the ancient aliens setup where they're mucking about with some of Earth's shall we say, capabilities and other things, and it's like, uh-oh, here comes the part you didn't expect, or maybe you did, depending on your expectations of Wheelhouse. But yeah, I'm just a sucker for things where they take like kind of like a more old school kind of guy, and all of a sudden you're towards the end of it, it's like, oh, here comes more of the science fiction angle, and he's trying to understand what basically they're talking about towards the end, kind of like explaining a little bit of certain kind of historical aspects and how it kind of integrated with what was happening even with Earth. And I honestly, I like the way that they use certain kind of historical monuments. I guess that's how you can say it. Yeah, yeah. That's how I can reference it without spoiling much of the story. I mean, you get a lot for the, let's see, like 32 pages that's in this thing. So you can't go wrong in my estimation. It, especially if you do like kind of like the old God, what was it? The X-O ManOWar thing, where yeah, the guy is kind of taken out of his element. This does share some things with that, but that's just on the periphery. They're doing a lot of their own stuff as well. But yeah, I'm glad that they stuck with it and kept getting this campaign going. Even though it took a handful of times, I'm glad they are finally able to get this first issue out, and I'll be happy to keep going along with it. Because even though they do take like the ancient alien angle in some parts of it, even from what little I can see here in terms of the overall bigger picture, because now that I'm writing, my brain seems to key in on like little things here and there to where it's like, how is this gonna tie in and link up with the rest of Earth and how other things are going? But I do like the fact that the way he sees it, like the readers themselves will probably get understand a little bit more than he will, even though he's experienced this whole thing from like his point of view and what his frame of reference is. I kind of like that dynamic where, like, yes, all of us that are more keyed into science fiction stuff will be like, oh, what possibilities are coming here? But then he's the kind of guy that he has to take his ancient worldview and try to understand what he did see. So, and, and, uh, and his relationship with his wife, his queen, is pretty much understandable. Like they got the male brain versus the female brain pretty down pat. um, so if you want to get an idea of how sometimes women think about things, like yeah, the way he plays off of her is pretty good. It's I would say it's pretty understandable in terms of like some certain kinds of miscommunications that can happen. Um, but no, I just like all the little details too. Like if you're gonna, I suppose, unlike like space fantasy, if you're gonna mix in stuff that has a little bit more historical aspects, like yeah, they got the little details like pretty darn well. And yeah, that's about it. I'm a pretty happy camper for what I backed. And what else can I say? It's like just that this is what I want out of comics. I just want people to tell a good story. That's it. This opening issue 1 has an interesting story. You get the idea of what the overall conflict is, as far as what the to him what is considered current error. you get that overall conflict, but then you also have, the ancient alien kind of overall arc conflict that's in the background so far. So I'm hoping that they'll be able to get the rest of these issues out, because, like I've said, like I am definitely enjoying seeing where this is going to go. And it doesn't that's all you really need for a story, is just have an interesting hook. I mean, it opens up with a particular conflict. Like most stories that will end up gaining my interest will open up on some kind of battle, some kind of mystery, some sort of like more like an external conflict, especially. I find I basically I'll zone out if what you open up with is completely psychological. Like I want the character to be able to interact with their environment and kind of just, start the avalanche of action and everything else. It's just my personal preference for right now. But that's about it. Yeah, if you keep an eye out, I would say, if you can, I'll link the Indiegogo to see if they're still letting people buy copies. But I would say give Offworlder #1 a try. Have a good day, everybody.